In the 1990s, Jim Carrey became one of the biggest stars in the world thanks to hit films like Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, and Liar Liar. He's an incredibly likable actor and also a very loose performer. He improvises a lot, so when you combine that with his manic energy, it results in lots of unexpected moments of him cracking up his co-stars. And himself. Here are some behind-the-scenes clips from Jim Carrey movies, outtakes so good that they could have been in the movies themselves. Almighty, then. Bruce Almighty is a high-concept blockbuster where Carrey stars as a TV reporter who gets to take a crack at being God. In this blooper, an agitated Bruce has to cut off a conversation because he's running late for work. Generally, actors who have to drive in movies don't actually drive. Instead, the car is placed on a rig so that the crew can control exactly where it goes. This outtake reveals that secret as Carrey fiddles with the controls and pretends to zoom out of the neighborhood. Poppin' with the Penguins. Mr. Popper's Penguins stars Carrey as a guy who opens up his apartment to dozens of the tuxedo-colored polar birds. For many of the shots, the production used real penguins, and they've got genuine comedic chops. In this outtake, Carrey attempts to establish comic rapport with a prickly penguin who reluctantly obliges. First, the bird completely ignores his attempts at friendliness. Then, when he attempts the old "it's for you" bit with a phone, the little critter amusingly snaps its beak as a clever retort.
I'll introduce you. Somebody wants to talk. Want to say hi to Pippi? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Water in the court. In Liar Liar, Carrey plays a sleazy lawyer who is physically unable to say anything but the truth. Ironically enough, in this outtake, the joke is based on a lie. After an exchange with co-star Jennifer Tilly, Carrey pours himself a glass of water from a pitcher. He knows that neither the glass nor the pitcher is going to appear on screen, but that the sound will register. So it's the perfect opportunity for Carrey to make it seem like he's relieving himself in the courtroom. Something about Merry Christmas. In this moment from Dumb and Dumber 2, best friends Harry Dunn and Lloyd Christmas are having one of their little arguments. In the outtake, Carrey adds some highly theatrical laughing. His co-star Jeff Daniels doesn't break character, instead managing to improvise this line.
Projector!
Yeah!
Yeah!
Yeah! Yeah!
Oh, okay, let me just laugh some more!
No!
Because I can't remember my line!
Something about marriage!
It's a joke that works on two levels, referencing both the name of Lloyd's unattainable dream woman from the original Dumb and Dumber, as well as another very successful Farrelly Brothers film. Hello, Clarice. Carrey departed from his wheelhouse of likable idiots in the 1996 dark comedy The Cable Guy. He plays a TV installer who befriends a regular guy and then stalks him and tries to ruin his life. One of the movie's most famous scenes takes place at medieval times. Carrey puts a bunch of meat on his face and references Hannibal Lecter from The Silence of the Lambs. It was apparently so funny to Carrey and Matthew Broderick that they struggled to film the scene without cracking up.
Island of the Lambs!
Stop that. That's incredibly disgusting.
Do I have a lot of grease on my face?
Yes.
Fun with Jim and props. Jim Carrey knows a thing or two about physical comedy, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's the most physically coordinated actor. In this outtake from Fun with Dick and Jane, Carrey's suburban dad turned criminal is supposed to celebrate a successful phone call by throwing the phone from one hand to the other, but he can't quite seem to pull it off as he drops the phone and sends it flying. When he actually does manage to catch it, he pauses to savor the moment, but for so long that the take is unusable. A series of fortunate riffs. A series of unfortunate events is based on Lemony Snicket's gothic children's novel about the orphan Baudelaire children. With Carrey as villainous master of disguise Count Olaf, there ended up being plenty of extra footage. In this clip, he improvises a song about a time machine. That leads him to imitating a clock gone mad, which then leads to his top-notch dinosaur impression. Somehow, his co-stars continue to pretend to sleep even as he runs around and, well, does this. What's my name again? Anchorman 2 did everything the first Anchorman did, only much bigger and set in the 80s instead of the 70s. This included revisiting the first film's epic news anchor battle royale. The original fight featured only local San Diego news teams, while the second increased the stakes with national and international squads. There were cameos galore, including Carrey and Marion Cotillard as a Canadian duo. Though Carrey is a native Canuck, his character's exaggerated accent made it hard for him to spit out his lines.
What the hell's my name?
Scott Riley.
Scott Riley. There's not gonna be a fight without Ron. What's my name? My name is not Ron.
Scott Riles.